Hello everyone and welcome to Bhanzi classes. So welcome to this yet another interesting session on rational numbers where we are going to talk about more in detail about rational numbers. So I hope everybody had revised the previous session where we had talked about rational numbers, right? We started the new chapter. So what all did we talk about in the previous session? We talked about introduction to rational numbers where we had seen what's the numerator and denominator of a rational number. Remember P upon Q, right? Where Q cannot be equal to 0 and P and Q are always integers. What are they? They are integers, right? And what are equivalent rational numbers? Whenever you multiply or divide a given rational number with the same integer, you get your answer as an equivalent rational number, and we can find so many rational numbers for a given rational number, right? So let's move ahead and see what are we going to cover in today's session. Today we are going to talk about what are positive rational numbers, what are negative rational numbers, and also how do we represent rational numbers on a number line, which is going to be very interesting. So let's get started with the first topic for the day, that is positive rational numbers. What are positive rational numbers? Positive rational numbers are the numbers where the numerator and denominator both are positive. Such kind of rational numbers we call it as positive rational number, right? So moving ahead, there can be so many examples like 3 upon 4 where numerator and denominator both are positive. What if we write 7 by 8, right? If we write 19 by 11, all these are positive rational numbers. 2 upon 3, right? Etc. So we can have more rational numbers like this. But if the numerator and denominator are positive, we called it a positive rational number. What if the numerator and denominator both are negative? Then what do we call? Do we call them negative rational numbers? No, let's see what happens with them. So here, whenever you have negative numerator and negative denominator, in this case, negative gets cancelled and you are left with 3 upon 4. So actually, this is also a positive rational number. What is it? This is also a positive rational number, right? So indirectly we got to know that whether the numerator and denominator both are positive or both are negative, such kind of rational numbers are called positive rational numbers. Got it everyone? Yes. So now let's move to then what are negative rational numbers, but before that let's solve a question. List 3 positive rational numbers. So I have discussed with you, right? We can write so many positive rational numbers. So let's write few of them and others you can write by yourself. Suppose it's 8 by 9, right? We can also write minus 4 by minus 5 because when solved, it will give you 4 by 5, right? So you can also write in positive rational numbers, you can also write the ones which have negative numerator and negative denominator, because actually when they both are cancelled, you get the rational number as 4 by 5 only, right? And the last one can be 21 by 25 and so on. You can write any rational number of your choice, but keep in mind that both the numerator and denominator should be either positive or negative, both of them, right? Now, then what are negative rational numbers? Negative rational numbers are the ones where either one of them, either the numerator or the denominator is negative, only one of them. Like over here you can see the numerator is negative, so it will come in the category of negative rational number. But if the denominator is negative, then also it comes in the category of negative rational number. Only one of them should be negative to call it a negative rational number. But if both of them are negative, then we call it a positive rational number, because if you solve it, negative gets cancelled. Clear everybody? Right? Now what are negative and what are positive rational numbers? Moving ahead in our session, is 0 a positive or a negative rational number? So this is a very interesting question. What do you think? 0 would be negative or positive? Yes, 0 is a special rational number. It is neither negative nor positive rational number, right? It doesn't carry a sign of plus or minus. It will be neither negative nor positive. So moving ahead to our session, let's solve which of these are negative rational numbers. So here we are given few rational numbers and we need to check whether they are negative or positive. So first one, only the numerator is negative. So it would be negative rational number, right? Any one of them should be negative to call it a negative rational number. 5 by 7, no, it's not a negative rational number. 3 upon minus 5, yes, it is a negative rational number because only the denominator is negative. 0, no, because 0 is neither a negative rational number nor a positive one. Minus 2 by minus 9, what do you think so? No, because minus minus gets cancelled and you will be left with 2 by 9, which is actually a positive rational number. So in this particular case, there are only two negative rational numbers, which are minus 2 by 3 and 3 upon minus 5, not the other ones. Got it? So let's move ahead in our session and see how do we represent rational numbers on a number line. 0 stands always in the center. On the right side we have positive rational numbers, on the left side we have negative rational numbers. So together it's a number line for rational numbers. If you can see, we have equal gaps in between 0 to 1 by 2 or 1 by 2 to 2 by 2 or 0 to minus 1 by 2. So the gap is always equal at equal intervals, right, between two rational numbers. Got it, everybody? So in between the integers actually we are drawing the rational numbers. So let's see how do we mark the rational numbers on the number line, how do we draw this number line in detail. Before that, all other rational numbers with different denominators. So the rational number which I showed you on the number line just now, all of them were having the denominator 2. But what if a rational number doesn't have a denominator 2? Won't we be able to draw it on a number line? Yes, you would be able to draw it. That is what I am telling you over here. So let's see an example of it, right? So represent 3 by 4 on the number line. So this time the denominator is not 2, but still we will be able to draw it on the number line. So important points to be kept in mind is 0 should always be in the center, right? And then we have to take equal gaps on both the sides. Mark the lines. But then what the numbers to be written over there is what we are going to decide now, and how do we check that, right? So starting with represent 3 by 4 on a number line. First of all, you should know whether it's a proper fraction or an improper fraction. So since the denominator is greater than the numerator, it's a proper fraction, right? And whenever it's a proper fraction, it will either lie between 0 to 1 if it's a positive one, or 0 to minus 1 if it's a negative one. So what is actually 4 by 4? It's 1 only. What is minus 4 by 4? It's minus 1. So in this particular case, it will lie between 0 to 1 because it's a positive 1. And now, since you know it will lie on this side, so what should we decide next? Next is, how many divisions should be coming between 0 to 1? That depends on the denominator. Since the denominator is 4, there should be 4 divisions. So this is the first, second, third and fourth. Now you have 4 divisions, start marking them. 1 by 4, 2 by 4, 3 by 4, 4 by 4, which is actually 1. And now you can mark your answer, which is 3 by 4. Got it? Yes. So what did we actually do? We have discussed 3 different steps. First, whether it's a proper fraction or an improper fraction. If it's a proper fraction, it will lie between 0 to 1 if it's positive, or 0 to minus 1 if it's negative, right? Second one, check the denominator to see how many intervals should be made. That the denominator tells us. And then once you get the intervals, you should mark the numbers and then mark the one which you have to draw on the number line, which you have to represent on the number line. So this was a positive one. Now what would happen if you get a negative one out there? Minus 5 by 2 on the number line. So let's see what will happen in this particular case. First of all, step number 1 remains the same. It's an improper one this time because numerator is greater than the denominator. So what you are going to do? In this particular case, if it's an improper fraction, you are going to, it's not a fraction first of all, it's a rational number. But because the numerator is greater than the denominator, you are going to convert it in mixed form. Right? Why do we do that? That I am going to tell you. So mixed form is minus 2, 1 by 2. So when you get this number, this integer, this tells us that your given rational number would lie between this and its next rational number on the number line. So it's minus 2 and minus 3. So this rational number would lie between these two. Right? So first thing, check the numerator or denominator, whichever is greater. If the numerator is greater, then convert it in the mixed form. Once you convert it in the mixed form, check the integer which you get, right? The whole number. It's not the whole number, it's an integer. So once you get the integer, that integer and its next consecutive integer tells us that my given rational number would lie between them. And now it's time to check the denominator. Denominator is 2. So how many divisions do we make between these two integers? It's 2. And now let's start marking them. So while marking, we get to know that the denominator should be 2. So if I write minus 2 by 2, that's actually minus 1, right? Minus 4 by 2, which is minus 2, and minus 6 by 2, which is minus 3. So minus 2 is actually minus 4 by 2, right? And minus 3 is minus 6 by 2. So where will minus 5 by 2 lie? Here is your minus 5 by 2, which have been asked in the question. So these are few steps which you have to follow while you represent rational numbers on the number line, right? So I hope everybody is crystal clear with how to draw the rational numbers on the number line. So let's move ahead and summarize what all we had learnt in the session today. We had talked about positive rational numbers, negative rational numbers, and how do you represent whether it's a positive or a negative rational number on the number line. Right? So which rational numbers do we call positive? The ones where the numerator or the denominator both are either negative or positive. Negative rational numbers are the ones where either the numerator or the denominator is negative. And rational numbers on the number line, there are few steps to be followed. The first one is check whether the numerator or denominator, whichever is greater. Then check the denominator and divide those integers into these many parts according to the denominator's number. And last, mark the numbers and mark the given rational number on the number line which you were supposed to represent. So this is how we solve these. So before we move to the next class where we are going to learn something new, keep practicing, keep exploring, and do not forget to draw more number lines to practice with the steps which I have explained you, and you will be thorough in it. Right? So till we meet next, spark your curiosity. Bye-bye.